It is a law which hides in structural symmetry. As long as the universe exists, then too does its morality, and as long as it does, life will remain imperishable. This is another law of the eternity of life. Now, let us look at the quantity of life in the universe. In the introduction, I talked about the birth or origin of life. In The Greatest Creator, I described the origin of the greatest creator and the universe. In Humanity and Life, I also spoke of the origin of human beings and life. Now, I want to ask you whether life's quantity in the universe is overall, static, or dynamic. To be more specific, is the population of humans on the Earth constant or variable? If we look at the size of the Earth's population, we see that it is not constant, but undeniably variable. There were about 6 billion people on the Earth 20 years ago, but more than 7 and 2/3 billion now. This proves that the human population varies, which seems to indicate that the amount of life varies. However, when we understand the structures of the cosmic spaces, the essence of life, the law of symmetry and balance of the cosmic lives, we find that the total amount of life in the whole universe does not vary, but remains constant. This so-called variability is due to the transmigration and reincarnation of various kinds of life beings in the universe. People who do not know about oceans and icebergs certainly think that river water must vary seasonally when they see that it decreases in winter but increases in summer. However, people who understand about oceans, icebergs, glaciers, and weather changes understand that the total amount of water on the Earth is constant and never varies. The river with less water in winter does not tell us that the total amount of water on the Earth has decreased, nor does its increase in summer and autumn mean that the extra water comes from nowhere. It happens because water is brought from other places by the movement of the Earth and the changes of the weather. Things decrease in some places but increase in others. Things with one nature increase as those with another decrease. The universe as a whole is constant. What changes is its form. The total amount of energy is constant whether the universe is expanding or shrinking. Otherwise, the law of the conservation of matter that we learned as young children would be violated. Once we understand that the universe is constant and that the total amount of water on the Earth is also constant, we will know that the total amount of life in the universe is also constant. The so-called change is a change of life's form or expression, but not a change of its quantity. There are those who might ask where all the extra people on the Earth have come from. Those extra people have transmigrated and reincarnated from heaven, hell, animals, and plants. Have you not noticed that while the human population has increased, animal populations have decreased? The lost animals have morphed into humans. This is unimaginable. How can it be? Is this not far-fetched nonsense? In order to understand this, we must understand the essence of life. In my introduction, we discussed the achievement of Dr. Langdon. The essence of life lies not in its specific substance, but in its form. And then we reached a further understanding that life is a non-material structure with spirituality. Material forms are not the essence of life. People are different from animals in terms of their life forms, but they are the same in terms of their essences, their non-material structures. The only differences are their structural forms. I hope we can all agree that gorillas are not humans, but only animals. However, in light of their life structures, the difference between gorillas and humans is only 0.1%. With a random comparison between rabbits, sheep, and humans, the differences between their structures is less than 0.2%. There are very few differences among the structures of Jesus, Sakyamuni, Laozi, saints, and ordinary people. But those tiny differences are enough to make huge differences in their lives' spiritual qualities. Therefore, when we say that many animals have moved on to become humans, we cannot judge them by their forms, but recognize the essences behind those forms. Otherwise, no matter how many pages I spend on it, we will never understand the transmigration and evolution of lives. So, according to that transmigration and evolution of life, it is imperishable, and this is another law about the eternal nature of life. Please refer to the evolution of life. We must now put forth this question. Since the total amount of life in the universe is static, then the increases and decreases of some species are the consequences of the opposite happening to other species. What about the situation in which a life is cloned by scientists? Does this prove that the amount of life can be increased artificially? Yes, cloning does increase the amount of life. Take humans, for example. Human bodies consist of trillions of cells. The universe is holographic and so are human bodies. a person can be cloned from any cell from any other person. Besides, the consciousness of life is rooted in its structure. As long as the structure does not change, the person cloned can possess the consciousness of the original person. Here comes a dangerous signal that cloning violates the natural and moral laws of the universe and destroys the symmetrical balance of life directly. Once it gets out of control, disasters will come in rapid succession and people will face catastrophes. In fact, catastrophes are not far away because of people's intelligence and wisdom. Taiji Celestial once asked me where the thousand-year world animals come from. My answer was that they are also life and also need to face transmigration and reincarnation. The difference is that their lifespan is 10 times longer than their equivalent species on Earth. People in the mortal world can be reincarnated as animals in the thousand-year world if they had good life qualities while they were here because animals in the thousand-year world live better lives than people in the mortal world. Some might ask whether the total quantity of life was determined in the beginning or if was capped after some amount of time. We all know that both the universe and life had their own origins. Since there were starting points, then the total quantity of the cosmic lives could not have been determined at the beginning, but gradually grew. After the birth of the greatest creator, he created symmetric gods with yin and yang. Then, he created angels in order to allow the universe to fill with happiness and vitality. These angels were divided into super celestial beings and Buddhas for the influence from the yin and yang gods. After the division of super celestial beings and Buddhas, in order to make them enjoy the joy of creation, under the permission and acquiescence of the greatest creator and the leadership of the gods, angels began to create lives, especially human being, according to the life blueprint endowed by him. However, because of the shortage of lower-level spaces of life, this creation destroyed life's balance of symmetry. He then implemented two great life extinctions events on the Earth in which most lives were transferred to the Yin world, the Hell world. In this way, many lives were treated unjustly. So in order to balance things out, the greatest creator created the thousand-year world, 10,000-year world, and Elysium world. Since then, the quantity of life in the universe has reached its limit, and thus its total quantity was strictly determined. After this, Sakyamuni and Jesus were sent to the mortal world to educate people. Prophet Muhammad, PBUH, also received his divine oracle and traversed his own journey to guide people from their respective factions toward heaven. Humans have three origins, and this is why there are three major religions: Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. The differences in the doctrines resulted from the different origins of their lives. This is just an outline of an outline, and its real complexity would be too difficult to explain clearly as it involves too many astonishing details. A little imprudence could cause major misunderstandings, so therefore it can only be perceived by heart and not explained verbally. Scientists are taking efforts to establish a unified field theory of the universe while the gods are endeavoring to establish a unified perspective theory of human beings. Both groups are trying to unify all the inharmonious elements into the harmonious way of the greatest creator, which is why phenomena such as angels descending to the earth, Martians coming to save the earth, New Age concepts, and others are appearing. The birth of Life Genuine is a part of this general trend. Those with clairvoyance can smell the era changing from Life Genuine. Because of this, all religions except for the three listed above are heterodoxical because of their false sources and should cease their activities and disappear automatically. Owing to the different doctrines and unconquerable qualities of these three, they should compromise with each other and gradually blend together in order to safeguard the harmony of cosmic lives. In the eyes of the greatest creator, all lives are equal and share the same opportunity. As lives are imperishable, everyone, regardless of their religion, faction, nationality, or race at present, should stop thinking about maintaining their own current interest, but only consider their future direction. Life has spirituality, consciousness, reaction, and emotion, but its spirituality comes from life's origin, the psychic energy of the greatest creator, which is also the Tao in Laozi's Tao Te Ching. Tao is the blood and vitality of the universe. It runs throughout all time and space and exists in motion and variation of all material and non-material beings. As long as the greatest creator exists, Tao works. As long as Tao exists, life is imperishable. Even if we wanted to end our own life, it would be impossible. We could only kill our physical body, but we could never kill our life because our life and Tao, the psychic energy of the greatest creator, are integrated. Owing to the eternity of Tao, the life attached to it is imperishable. This is another law of the eternity of life. Finally, let us look at whether or not the non-material structure of life will ever be faced with extinction. As we know, only energy that is attached to a structure can form a shape and play a role. We grow from germ cells into adults with complete organs and limbs under the absolute determination of the energy which attaches itself to our life structures. Without these life structures, energy could only remain energy forever with no way of becoming constituent parts of human bodies. We can imagine that if these germ cells were divided continuously, they would eventually enter the domain of quantum mechanics and superstrings. With a further step, they would enter the dimension of the spirit and consciousness, which are non-material. All material with forms in the universe are ever-changing and able to disappear, but spirit and consciousness are not. We always say that deities lurk 1 meter above our heads, but who or what are these deities? They are non-material and intangible. Although intangible, they are substantive and will never disappear. Each material has a structure and each non-material also has one. As a result, since non-material structures cannot disappear, then these non-material structures of life will never do so either. This is another law of life's eternity. In summary, life is eternal for the following 5 reasons. The universe is eternal. The universe's morality is eternal. Life beings can transmigrate and change. The psychic energy of the greatest creator, Tao, lives forever. Non-material structures are eternal. These 5 reasons determine the law of life's eternity. If my theoretical analysis above leaves you confused, then consider the facts. What facts? From the research reports of near-death experiences and the records of reminiscences about previous lives, one can understand that life is eternal. If you have not read about them, you can still sense and feel them in your dreams. In conclusion, life is eternal. 生命的灵光与色彩 The spiritual light and color of life. Xiefeng, January 18, 2007. Translated by Transin. Both the material and the non-material show light and color. Everything in the universe has feelings and psychic energy. Life is a non-material structure with spirituality, and every light and color is the result of its structure. Although both life beings and non-life beings have spiritual lights, those of life beings possess initiative, whereas those of non-life beings only reflect light from spiritual sources. The lights and colors of materials are visible, but the lights and colors of non-materials need to be experienced with spiritual perception. The stronger that a vitality is, the richer its color will be, and the brighter its radiance becomes. The spiritual light of a life has color which is determined by its non-material life structure. Life has levels. Although different levels of it may embody the same spiritual lights, their colors are quite different. Strong or weak of spiritual lights just indicates life beings waxing and waning, not their qualities, whereas their colors indicate their qualities, not their strengths or weakness. People can be divided into ignorant persons, laity, mortals, sages, and celestials. Celestials include saints, lofty people, and pure people, but also goblins and devils. This kind of classification is not based on the external characteristics of life beings, but rather on their intentions and qualities. Just as with diamonds, rubies, sapphires, opals, olivines, moonstones, aquamarines, tourmalines, amethyst, and other gemstones. All of them are stones, but their structures and qualities vary. Everyone has their spiritual light. Those of ignorant persons, laity, mortals, and sages are relatively weak, while those of saints, lofty people, pure people, goblins, and demons are much stronger. Ordinary people's spiritual colors are flat. Those of immortals are bright and intense. Generally speaking, ordinary people's spiritual lights are white with faint light, like a mass of vapor, but sages are faint-colored, which are often changing. With the perfection of structure and the purification of quality, the spiritual lights gradually show into a fixed color. Saints, lofty people, and pure people show colors of red, yellow, and purple. Goblins show blue and green. Devils show black. Buddhas, including super celestial beings, show a wide spectrum of 7 colors. As spiritual lights belong to the non-material, they are invisible to naked eyes and are only visible to those with Buddha eyes. Generally speaking, auspicious lights indicate the life quality of heaven, whereas dark or absent light indicates one of hell. We can sense invisible, spiritual light and color when we socialize with others. If we feel fresh, open and clear, bright and beautiful, happy, warm, cheerful, inspired, and safe when reading someone's aura or articles, then this person's spiritual light is auspicious. If we feel pain, oppression, heaviness, discouragement, are unsettled, and feel negativity, depression, and worry, then this person's is dark. To make your spiritual light become more auspicious, you must perfect the non-material structure of your life. The more perfect it is, the more auspicious it will be, and people will sense your degree of perfection. If our consciousness is clear and ordered, then colorful light will show. If our consciousness is disordered, then colorful light will not show. We can be enlightened from a magnet or from ordinary iron. The former has polarity, the latter does not. The difference between them lies in the arrangement of their molecules. The former is orderly, the latter is not. Of course, our environment can inspire us as well. Just as when we go shopping, some shops are clean and tidy, bright and lively, and welcome us inside, while others are disorganized and gloomy and make us feel oppressed. The non-material structures of life are like those shops. Some people's life structures are like green hills with clear water, bright and colorful, while others are more like barren hills with muddy rivers, barren grounds, and evil. Different structures present different spiritual lights and colors. Looking up to heaven, we only see the blue sky and white clouds, but cannot see the concealed, infinitely natural scenery. This is because our spiritual perception is too weak for our consciousness to enter into the non-material world. What do we see as we gaze across the vast Gobi Desert? Most people just see sand, but some see the grand phenomenon of heat currents flowing across the Earth's surface, while others even see mirages. The longer you concentrate on something, the more you will understand it and find things that are invisible to others. I hope that everyone glows with auspicious and colorful spiritual lights and that everyone will see them. 生命的生死新概念. New understanding on the life and death of life. Xiefeng. April 3, 2011. Translated by Transin. The issues of life and death with regard to life do not exist. The only issue is that of conversion. So-called life and death are only false appearances which have mistaken the existence and disappearance of the carriers of life for those of life itself. It is a misunderstanding of life to say that it is born or dies. Since people do not understand the whole truth of life and its length, they define it mistakenly by way of their limited vision. Mourning bacteria have no idea of the first and last days of months. Cicadas are unaware of spring and fall. Bacteria that emerge in the morning and die in the evening have no experience of what days are like. Cicadas that are born in spring and die in fall cannot understand the passage of seasons. Butterflies who fly and dance among flowers will never know the existence of winter. Humans cannot see the past or future, so humans always measure the length and depth of life against the more transient life. How do we react to mourning bacteria saying that there are no dark nights? What do we think when cicadas say that there is no spring or fall? How do we feel when people tell us that there are no previous or future lives? People often talk about life and death by saying that someone is born or has died. Actually, what they refer to is only the birth, growth, and death of their flesh, the carriers of lives, not their life. Therefore, it is necessary to redefine the life and death of life. A person's downward conversion from the human world to a lower life space is death. A person's horizontal transmigration back to the human world is half death. A person's upward conversion from the human world to a higher life space is life. More specifically, a person is dead if they transmigrate to the plant world, the animal world, hell, the frozen layer, or the inflamed layer. A person is half dead and half alive if they transmigrate back to the human world. A person gains life if they advance toward any of the 3 levels of heaven, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, or the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. It is up to everyone to choose for themselves whether they go to death, half death, or life. Hence, we can see that some people are marching downward, some are lost on the road, and some are proceeding to a more wonderful rebirth. 答复王神医关于灵魂的咨询. What is soul and the features of souls? A reply to the consultation on soul from Dr. Wang. Xiefeng. October 11th, 2006. Translated by Transin. Let me introduce Dr. Wang Rongquan of One Clinic of Jiuquan City, Gansu Province. He acquired the nickname of Miracle Working Doctor from his noble medical ethics and strong healing skills. I had the honor of meeting with him in June of last year and witnessed his method of treating patients, which was truly quick and efficient and priced fairly and reasonably. Humility and open-mindedness are commonalities of all wise people, and Dr. Wang is no exception. Both of us were sincerely impressed after our brief conversation, and I entertained a couple phone calls from him, including one yesterday morning concerning the question of souls. I posted my understanding of souls below for him to read when he went online. At the dock, we can often hear someone shouting, "Look, the ship is coming." Standing in the station platform, we can hear someone saying, "The train is coming." At the airport, we say, "The plane is taking off." The question is, what commonalities do ships, trains, and planes all share? Can any of them come and go by themselves? Certainly not. The reason that they move about is that they have souls, which control them. People. Without people, they would be nothing more than structures of energy and aggregates of matter. A daughter said to her mother, "Look, Daddy is coming home." A passers-by shouted in panic, "Run! A vicious dog is running this way." A young girl cried to her older sister, "My rabbit ran away." We need to ask what trait the dad, the wild animal, and the rabbit share. Why can they move? And why are they no longer able to do so when they die, but their legs, vital organs, and heads are still there? The reason is that they can only move when souls inhabit their bodies. After their souls leave them, they are no longer able to move even though their physical structures are intact. They become the same as those ships, trains, and airplanes without people. So, the physical structures are nothing more than aggregates of materials formed by energy attached to them. They are vessels. The driver of the train gets off and leaves it motionless and dead, but the soul of the train, the driver, is not dead. Just as a soul leaves its flesh motionless and dead, but the soul of the flesh does not die. The Western research of near-death and numerous instances of reincarnation tell us loudly and clearly that human souls still exist after their physical deaths, and that they can find other carriers to continue to exercise their missions, just as drivers can replace cars and continue driving. Many people have witnessed the phenomena of soul infusion. Very normal people's voices change suddenly along with their pronunciation and intonation, and they say something very strange, but have no idea why. This proves that another soul has expressed itself by borrowing this carrier. Many people have such experiences in which they clearly perceive that other persons are talking to them in their minds, and they can even remember and write down what they tell them. Jane Roberts, Seth, and her receiver, who disseminated New Era information, and Neil, the author of Conversations with God. Their behaviors have proved the independent existence of souls, but what exactly are they? The answer is that souls are non-material structures with spirituality and share the following 8 basic characteristics. Souls have spiritual nature and are alive. Souls are non-material, invisible, inaudible, untouchable, and immeasurable in the material world. Souls are weightless. Souls are consciousnesses. Souls function in the material world only when they are attached to specific carriers. Souls have memory. Souls have regional properties. Souls can penetrate and enter any substances from their gaps like beams and waves. Souls are consciousnesses that contain psychic energy but are not the psychic energy themselves. The psychic energy is the source of life and is found everywhere in the universe, whereas souls are just small psychic energy regiments. Not only can souls take people as their carriers, but they can also inhabit other animate and inanimate objects such as houses, vehicles, computers, trees, stones, and so on as their carriers as well. Whether souls go to heaven, hell, or back to earth depends on their contents, namely their consciousnesses. The reincarnation of souls abides strictly to the management and arrangement of Tao. All the reincarnations of souls must pass through the continent for three realms' lives to pass through. This is a filter with different densities at different layers through which the souls will enter their corresponding spaces. In Life Genuine, we usually identify consciousnesses instead of souls for easier understanding and refinement. 梦境和生命空间 Dream World and the Space of Life. Xiefeng. August 15th, 2017. Translated by Treasure. Suppose that you could either sleep and have a wonderful but illusory dream for 80 years, or that you could study, work, and struggle in reality for the same 80 years. Which would you rather do? Enjoy the unreal dream or struggle through reality? It is the same 80 years. What is the difference between the real and the unreal one? Are both not experiences of life? To life, there is no real or unreal problem. Where were you when you were dreaming? Is everything in a dream not our reality? Is the feeling in the dream not real? Are the feeling and experience of annoyance, worry, joy, and fear not the same as they are in our reality? Actually, life is also a dream. However, our thoughts corner us stubbornly in a supposed reality and we ignore the other space of life. Human lives die, but life does not. Life will continue to live on in a dream without a body. The point is, which dreams shall we dream? Pleasant ones or nightmares? The space of life is infinite, and the time of life is also infinite. Everyone dreams. What happens in those dreams? It may be unthinkable and unimaginable, but you can reunite with dead loved ones, allow yourself to fly, miraculously transform into things and situations that you long for, and you may even make love in your dreams, and the feelings of making love in dreams are more intense, comfortable, unforgettable, and impressive than of those in reality. What is unimaginable in reality can be realized in dreams. You can even attain magic powers and spells. Why not live a wonderful dream? What matters is how we can make long-term wonderful dreams. Associated with our consciousness is the ability to have a nightmare or a pleasurable dream. All the situations and scenarios in our dreams are created by our consciousnesses. In other words, they are related to the qualities of our lives. If our non-material structure is perfect, then we can have great dreams, while defective non-material structures lead to nightmares. Question: where are heaven and hell? Answer: in our consciousness, the non-material structures of our lives. If our minds are full of envy, hate, greed, fear, anxiety, struggling, fighting, killing, despoiling, maintaining possessions, and controlling others, then we will undoubtedly live in hell and suffer from many nightmares, and our lives will descend into hell when we die as humans. Conversely, if our minds are full of joy, gratitude, appreciation, pleasure, love, the fragrance of beauty, elegance, and unrestrained nature, then we will live in heaven and our dreams will be pleasant, and our lives will certainly ascend to heaven after our human bodies pass.